Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. And today we are back reviewing two new streaming films, I should say, that we both watch: Love and Monsters and Antebellum. And we'll be covering both of those films here shortly. And I say, without further ado, we just get right into it, man. So the first film up on the deck is Love and Monsters. Which is on it's on various streaming platforms. I don't remember exactly where I got it from. I want to say Amazon or something of that nature. I think I got it from my cable subscriber through Comcast. So, but yeah, you can find it on various platforms online. But I'll let you go ahead and tell us what that one is about, if you don't mind, Jason.
Yeah. Love and Monsters. It stars Dylan O'Brien, who is pretty well known from the Maze Runner trilogy. Is it a trilogy or is it just two of them? I can't remember.
It was a trilogy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, trilogy.
The third one didn't come out for some time because I think he got injured filming the third one or something like that. So they had to hold production, and it came out like a year or two later than it was supposed to.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what he's mainly known for. And it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where after the world's basically been destroyed by giant insects. And I don't, it's been a couple of weeks since I watched it, but if I remember right, it's because an asteroid was headed toward the Earth and they had to do something. They had to shoot something at the asteroid and it rained down on the Earth and it caused the bugs to mutate, I think. But the reason's not really important. It's like giant bugs. It's a giant bug monster movie. That's all you need to know. So, we're talking giant slugs, giant snails, giant, scary centipedes, giant bugs. That should be enough to sell the movie, I think. But it takes place after the world has been basically destroyed by these mutated giant bugs. And there's only a few survivors here and there. So he plays a orphan because you see in flashback that he lost his parents during the the bug apocalypse, I guess you could say. And he, right before that happened, he kind of had this connection with this young lady. And this movie takes place, I don't know, a few years after the apocalypse, and he manages to get back in contact with her. She's living with another settlement like 85 miles away. So he's already feeling kind of like he doesn't really fit in with the survivors he's with. So he decides to leave and make it on his own, which no one would ever think of doing because there's giant killer bugs everywhere, to get to this lady. So that's the general plot. It also Michael Rooker, who most people know from The Walking Dead and a lot of other movies and shows, also pops up as a fellow survivor that he kind of encounters along the way. So I really love this movie. I thought it was super fun right off the bat. And it kind of strikes a tone to me that was kind of between Zombieland. It's definitely very reminiscent of Zombieland because the way he narrates the movie and he tells you, like, there's certain rules, to traversing this landscape that you have to follow. So it's got kind of a Zombieland tone, but it's definitely not as R-rated as Zombieland. It's more kind of like Zombieland meets Tremors to me. And I love both of those movies. So I was in for this. And to me, this was like truly like an all ages movie, except there's like a little bit of sexual humor right at the very beginning. But after that, it's pretty much, to me, like a really fun movie for all ages. Like, it's a good movie for kids to get into kind of scary monster movies because it's not too scary, but it's just scary enough. But it's also, it's got teenage characters who are well developed and interesting and sympathetic. And it's obviously, I'm 42 years old, so it's good for adults too. It's just a good adventure movie with a lot of good a lot of good like giant bug action, really good special effects, which are impressive because I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that it was not a huge budget movie, but it was able to look like a big budget movie. Maybe it was, I don't know, but I got the impression that it was that they made the best of what they had to use. which probably wasn't a huge budget, I don't think. But yeah, it's really exciting. It's got really interesting characters. It's fun. It's fast paced. It looks great. And it definitely leaves the door open for more movies set in this universe. And if that happens, I'm first in line for it, frankly, because I thought this movie was a blast. How about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. To your point, you said it was a film that's kind of for all ages, and I watched it as a kind of like a family thing here at the house over the weekend, and because we had all the kids here, and so so we had from all the way to the three kids that are like 13, 14, almost 15, and then 17, and they all seemed like they enjoyed it, and and the adults enjoyed it as well, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun film. Like you said, it was funny in parts. It had a great story. Like I said, I don't know how big the budget was. I can't say, because they did have some pretty giant like monsters and stuff like that. I'm sure a lot of that was blue screen or something, some sort of digital effects or something. So I'm not really for sure what the budget was, but it had just enough, like I said, just enough humor, just enough I guess scary moments, if you will, to keep you entertained. But like you said, not overly scary. There wasn't a whole lot of like blood and guts or anything like that. So, but yeah, it was really good.
A lot of slime. There's a lot of slime. Buckets
there's
of
a lot
slime.
of slime. Yeah, there definitely is a lot of slime. No, so yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun movie. Definitely one, like you said, it seems like there could be potentially sequels abound from this film. So definitely would be in line for that. I kind of almost was like expecting more monsters. I feel like there was a lot of periods like in the middle where there were like no monsters at all. You know what I mean? Like, so that was the only thing that I was just like, I was kind of expecting to see like, I guess, more monsters. You know what I mean? Like more giant bugs. You know what I mean? I almost felt like there wasn't almost enough giant bugs in certain parts, I guess. I don't know. So, because
I would have loved a giant spider, that's for sure.
Yes, or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I almost wanted to see more bugs. You know what I mean? Like because like if there was like some sort of virus or whatever, you know what I mean, that caused like all the bugs to kind of grow and become larger, you know what I mean? There's millions and billions of bugs, you know what I mean? I read some story that like in any given your backyard or your house or whatever, there's like enough bugs and spiders that would cover the whole population of like of people in the earth or something crazy, some crazy number that I heard, which sounds about right, with ants and that sort of stuff, colonies and that sort of stuff. So so I'm like, that would be a lot of bugs. If I don't know if they all grew up in size, but if predominantly a lot of them did, I would imagine there would be more bugs, you know what I mean? So so it's kind of I don't know, I guess I was kind of like expecting to see a few more bugs than what they had, you know what I mean?
Maybe we'll get a spider and a cockroach and a worm in the sequel or something like that.
Yeah,
because those would be good, scary, big monsters.
Yeah. So not a big gripe, just a small point that I would make. That I kind of was expecting to see a few more bugs, because I felt like there was like points in the film where I'm like, where are the bugs at? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, because there a huge point of the film is him kind of walking on his own, or with other groups that he had found. You know what I mean? And before he because his character is basically kind of he's not a very strong character. He's very kind of more considered to be more of a weak character, right? As opposed to everybody else in his colony that he was hiding out with underground. They were fighters. They were going out foraging for food and stuff like that. And when he decides that he kind of basically wants to go to travel the 85 miles on foot to see this girl that he had a connection with in the previous life before the end of the world, basically. They were all telling him, you won't survive. That's like a 7-day trek. There's no way you're going to make it, with all the bugs and stuff like that. And then on this journey, you know what I mean? There's like maybe 4 bugs that you see, you know what I mean? So, so I kind of wanted to see a few more bugs, you know what I mean? I'm like, if it's that dangerous, I just kind of expected to see a few more bugs here and there, you know what I mean? That were going to be a danger to him. You know what I mean? I think that would have been, interesting as well to see a few more, I guess. So, but I get it. it could have been the budget, could have been a lot of different things. Maybe they just wanted to focus more on a story, but I just kind of in some capacity felt that there was going to be more bugs is all. So
yeah, more would have been cool, but I was never bored. I was never bored. I thought it was, thought it was really well paced, and yeah. So I could have stood for another big bug set piece or two, but yeah, maybe that'll be in the sequel.
Yeah. If there's a sequel, maybe they get a bigger budget, and then they can have the giant spiders and a flying bee, or you know what I mean, or something.
Yeah.
That'd
be cool.
but yeah, overall I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good story. I thought it was a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely one that I urge people to check out if you haven't seen it. Love and Monsters for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you wanted to add about Love and Monsters?
Nope, just thoroughly enjoyed it.
Cool. Moving on to the next film, which is a little more, I guess. Love and Monsters was considered kind of a horror comedy. I would say it leans more on the comedy, though. It wasn't as scary as I kind of thought it was going to be. So
right.
The next film is Antebellum.
Not a comedy.
Not a comedy at all. Definitely. As you can see, it's produced by the same producers as like Get Out and Us. So it's a horror film, but it's also in that same kind of vein as it. You know what I mean? It's the kind of film that wasn't directed by Jordan Peele, but you almost felt like it could have been directed by Jordan Peele. You know what I mean? Kind of in some capacities, because it's the kind of film that I felt like he would have directed. You know what I mean? I was watching. I was like, oh, wow, this seems like the kind of film that he would have like signed up for to direct. So Antebellum, and it's going to be a little difficult to describe without giving too much away. Basically, Antebellum basically begins. It's set kind of in the in the South on a plantation in like the basically during the middle of the Civil War, if you will. So it's set kind of in the middle of the Civil War on the Confederate side. So they have there's basically slaves. It focuses on the main star, Janae. Is it Janae Monáe? Is that her name?
Janelle Monáe.
Janelle Monáe. So it focuses on her, and she's basically at on a plantation, as working basically as a slave. And there's a lot of violence. The slaves are, beaten. They're shot if they're not listening. There's a lot of, on a typical, I guess, during slavery time. But you can tell that there's something amiss there. You know what I mean? You can tell that there's like something going on, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was. And then the story kind of like flash forwards to like basically the present. And it's the same star, and she's basically in the present, which was really like kind of off-putting, because you're like, well, how could that be? You know what I mean? She's, so you don't know if it's like a dream sequence or if there's some sort of connection between like the past and the future. But then it fast forwards to the future, and she's like, living like in 2020 or 2019 or something of that nature. And she's got like a husband and like a kid. And she's like this, like, kind of like this, public speaker for like like black empowerment and that kind of stuff, and she goes like head to head with like conservatives and that sort of stuff on like radio shows and talk shows. And so that's kind of where the film goes from there. And I hate to like give too much more away of that, because there is definitely some spoilers that come up above that. But I will say this: there is a connection basically to the past and to the present in the film, and how those converge is done in a very interesting and unique way. So it's an interesting story, definitely one that you would have to see in order to see how that's possible, how they do that, how they make basically the past and the present basically connect in some kind of way. And that's really all I'm going to say about it, about the story itself. So basically, like I said, that's all you really need to know kind of going into the story. Other than that, it is a horror story. It is, primarily set in basically, the Civil War during slavery time. And, I found it interesting. I definitely found it interesting. I was really, really digging like the first hour or so. There is the only parts I really had some issues with was towards the latter part. and that was just some motives. There was like some scenes where there's like, like kind of like an attempted escape, and like some of the motives that happened during that part, I kind of had some issues with, like, why would you do this? Why would you, like try to escape something and then go back, and you know what I mean? There was like some motives that I had some issues with. But overall, I actually kind of enjoyed it overall. I mean, I didn't love it, but I thought overall it was an interesting take. Definitely could have been some rooms for improvement, I guess, on it. But it does have an interesting twist that I kind of knew or kind of figured something was up by the point that it got there. I kind of I thought I had figured it out, and I pretty much had. But it does have a very interesting twist. So overall, I enjoyed it overall. Didn't love it, but I thought it was an interesting film. I'll leave it at that. What was your take, Jason?
Oh, yeah, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I liked it a lot, and you did a really good job of explaining it without giving anything away, and because it's tough with this movie. You pretty much have to say it like you did, and anything more than that, like, yes, there's like this stuff happening in the past and this stuff happening in present day, and I really like the way that you are forced to kind of try to figure out. It is very Twilight Zone-y. I'll put it out. It's very Twilight Zone in the way that, like, you're trying to figure out how these storylines converge, how they're connected, if they're connected. And it does a really good job of throwing you off your balance,
right?
Because any assumptions that you make at first anyway are probably wrong,
right?
And I thought it was really well done. I'm a big fan of Janelle Monáe's music. I haven't been like totally blown away by her acting yet. She's not bad. She's not bad at all. There's just, like, she just hasn't blown me away yet. Like, she had, like, her music. I think her music is great. Her music's fantastic. But she was good. She was fine in the lead. Let me see. Yeah, but yeah, it keeps you off your balance. It's suspenseful. It is the twist, I think, was well executed, and it's relevant. It's relevant. Like all the controversy these days about taking down, like, the Confederate statues in the South, and what that means. And this kind of fetishization of the Civil War from the Confederate side, that's still relevant today, unfortunately.
I mean, you still see people going around with, like, their Confederate flags in the South, and there's still a lot of this turmoil that's going on, where the not to get too political, but the "Make America Great Again." What exactly does that mean? When was America supposedly great? You know what I mean? Was it during the Civil War time?
Antebellum days, Antebellum, yeah.
Slavery, you know what I mean? And so there is that element, you know what I mean? When you say "Make America Great," for who? When was that time? You know what I mean? When was that time supposedly? That it was so great as opposed to now. You know what I mean? And who was it great for? You know what I mean? And that's
right. Exactly.
That's kind of one of those. I think that's kind of what they touch on in this film, and the way that they do the twist. Like I said, I did figure it out pretty early in, what was going on. So I felt, kind of good that I figured it out, because I don't always do that. But I did kind of figure out exactly what was going on. So I was kind of cool that I was able to figure that out. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun film. Like I said, it was definitely interesting. It was definitely one of those films that I had to think about for a little bit, you know what I mean? After I finished watching it, just to figure out, how everything kind of unfolded. And it's almost the kind of film that, I haven't seen it again, but it's the kind of film you might want to rewatch again to see how everything kind of adds up, and how you figure it out, and kind of what's really going on, kind of thing.
Right.
So,
but
yeah, overall, very interesting film, in my opinion. So
yeah, I'm surprised that the reviews are not really that good for it. I mean, overall, it's got like a 20-something% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's like, that surprises me, because it's really well done, and it's relevant right now. So that's kind of confusing to me. I don't understand, but
it also depends on who the reviews are coming from.
yeah, but I definitely recommend checking it out. It's provocative, and it's good, and it's entertaining sounds like the wrong word to say, but it's entertaining in the sense that it's suspenseful and it's exciting and it's intense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's definitely the kind of film that definitely, I can kind of see why there might have been a certain group of people that may not have enjoyed it. So I can't completely say that I don't understand why it got negative reviews, but I can kind of see why it may have gotten some negative reviews. But and that's on both sides of the spectrum. But I thought it was interesting. Like I said, I don't know that her acting was necessarily bad. I didn't notice anything spectacular about her acting, that's for sure. But like I said, my only gripe was kind of how some things unfolded during like kind of kind of like an escape scene, basically. I thought some of the motives didn't quite make sense to me at some of the parts. That was the only thing I kind of had some issues with. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good film. So
yeah, cool.
All right, well, we know that seems like we both like the films, but as always, here's where we may disagree. So I'll go ahead and start with Love and Monsters, your overall grade and the face you would give that one.
Oh, I loved it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5. So for me, that's an A-, and that's this face. Nice big smile, which is pretty much how I looked when I was watching it, because I was like, this movie is fun.
Awesome. Well, you know me, man. I'm always a little bit lower, usually about a star lower, which is pretty much where I'm going to be right now. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. And so that's going to be this face. Which is also a smile with some teeth. Sorry.
Yeah.
A smile with some teeth. Good film. I enjoyed it. Good solid film. Definitely, like you said, good for the family. I think that almost all ages could enjoy it and get a value out of it at the very least. And Antebellum. What was your overall grade and face you would give that one?
Antebellum is my one of my most popular grades, in that it was better than good, but not quite great. That's a 4 out of 5, B+. I give that a lot lately, and I don't see that as a bad thing. It means there's a lot of movies I've been seeing lately that are better than good, but not quite great, which is fine. So 4 out of 5, B+, which is this face. Smile with some teeth.
Yeah. Again, I'm about a star lower than you.
As always.
And
I think maybe I'm reviewing movies on a 5-star scale and you're reviewing them on a 4-star scale. I'm gonna think that way. Yeah.
If that's what you want to believe. I mean,
sure.
I haven't given any 5-star films yet this year, but that's also because of the year that we're living in. I feel like with the quarantine, and there just haven't been a lot of big budget films. Because let's be honest, none of the films that we're seeing right now, I would say necessarily would have been like big movies. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe Love and Monsters might have been like a $20 million opening, right? You know what I mean? Like I don't see it being like some blockbuster $100 million big time film. And most of the films we're seeing aren't necessarily going to be Oscar caliber films either. You know what I mean? Like I don't see the super big, artistic films necessarily that we're watching streaming that are all going to be big Oscar films. Not to say that Netflix doesn't have films that get nominated for Oscars or Best Pictures or that kind of stuff. I just think overall there's a lot of films that were going to be really, really good, decided they didn't even want to take the chance with COVID and just push it out to like next year, basically. So
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've seen a whole lot of movies that I really enjoyed this year. That's all I can say.
But you say
but are they the kind that would get nominated? Yeah. Are they the kind that would get nominated for Oscars? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. They probably will this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be all streaming for the Oscars pretty much. It's going to be everything that came out before like March and then all streaming films.
It's Andy Samberg's big shot.
Yeah. He's going to do
Palm Springs, Andy Samberg.
Yeah, you got
Best
it, man.
actor.
Best actor.
Yeah. I love Andy Samberg. I'd be all for it.
Yeah. But I'm going to give this one Antebellum. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. And I'm going to give it this face, which is a smile, and I'll throw some teeth in there as well. So, I don't always do it for
throw some teeth in there.
Yeah. I'll throw some teeth in there. Just throw them right at you.
Yeah.
So, here you go.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, those are our views on those two films. Like I said, if you've seen either or both, let us know down in the comments your thoughts, your takes on the film. As always, if you like the channel, we definitely ask that you like, subscribe, definitely hit the bell notifications so you don't miss our updates. And we will be back again soon with another show for you guys. We hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon. All right, bye.